What's up everyone, it's Bones here. In today's video, I'll be featuring the new Synchron support that we'll be getting in the Gate Guardian set, coming in just about a couple of weeks. But before I begin, if you could happen to click on those thumbs up and subscribe buttons, it would be greatly appreciated as it goes a long way in supporting the channel and shows me that you like content like this. Clicking on those notification bells would also mean a lot as they help notify you when I upload on the channel. So the first combo here that I'm going to start with is just Junk Converter with any tuner that you can discard for its effect, which will get you into the Junk Synchron along with the converter in the graveyard so that you can get into your speeder. We're going to go into one of the new cards which changes how you can build this deck as your combos become more flexible with another extender, as we're going to get into our speeder, use the converter as chainlink 2 to bring back our Junk Synchron, and from here we're going to get 5 total monsters on board, 4 through the speeder and 1 through the converter, as we're going to get the Stardust Synchron's effect, get ourselves the Illumination, and from here we can go into the Supernova. And we're doing this literally just to clear space. I'm going to try to combo as hard as I can throughout these videos while still making competent enough boards with what we start with, but everything will make sense momentarily. So we're going to use the effect of the Jet Synchron now, and this is one of the first big additions that I made to the deck that I don't think I've seen much, which is the Junk Servant. And this is basically just a level 4 effect monster that you can special summon out when you control a Junk monster, which we control 2 of them with the Junk Synchrons. And from here we're going to bring it out, and then we're going to use the effect of the Stardust Synchron in order to give us a level 4 tuner on board. And this will give us access into a Synchro 8, as this will help make the Axel Synchro Stardust, and it reads, it takes 1 tuner plus 1 non-tuner monsters. If this card is Synchro summoned, you can special summon 1 level 2 or lower monster from your graveyard. During the main phase quick effect, you can tribute this card, special summon 1 Stardust Dragon from your extra deck. This is treated as a Synchro summon. Then, immediately after this effect resolves, Synchro summon 1 Synchro monster using monsters you control as material. The turn the monsters Synchro summoned by this effect are unaffected by your opponent's activated effect. You can only use each effect of Axel once per turn. So the cool thing about this is that even if you choose not to play the Stardust Dragon for its second effect, you still can bring a level 2 or 1 tuner out in order to climb into a 9 or 10, assuming it's the only thing you have on board. To continue, we're going to activate its effect. This will bring back the Fleur Synchron, and we're playing this primarily because it's a level 2 tuner, which gives us more flexibility in what we can do. But we're going to activate the Stardust Illumination now in order to special summon our trail. And that's another nice thing about Axel, that it is a monster that mentions Stardust Dragon, which allows you to bring out the trail. But from here we're going to then go into our Baron with the Fleur Synchron and the Axel. And then from here we'll use the effect of the Illumination in order to make our trail level 5, and this will give us access into a Synchro 8, as we're going to go into the Draco Berserker of the 10-year to give us our end board using only Junk Converter with any tuner. Now this second combo will feature one of the other new cards, and it may be the final playable one, and I think that there's one more, but it reads, when this card is activated, if you control no other cards, you can add 1 Synchron monster from your deck to your hand. Once per turn during your standby phase, place 1 signal counter on this card. You can remove 2 signal counters from your field and send this face-up card to the graveyard. Draw 2 cards, then send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard. You can only activate 1 ready set duel per turn. So the cool thing about this card is that not only does it pair greatly with tuning, as it basically gives you access into full combo, as you'll see momentarily, but it even provides some levels of follow-up even if it is a bit slow. So I'm going to start this hand by activating the tuning, and this is to show, again, you must control no other cards, so you can still activate stuff, but make sure that you control no other cards when you activate this. And we're going to add the Synchron Carrier, as the tuning got us into the Jet Synchron, and the mill doesn't matter in this particular combo. As you saw, there was a Book of Eclipse, but we're going to normal summon the Carrier, then use its effect, which will allow us to get the extra normal summon for the Junk Synchron. Then we'll go into the Junk Speeder, and as you know, Junk Speeder is basically combo, so we'll get into 4 tuners here with the Fleur, the junk, the jet, and the stardust. And then from here, we'll use the stardust effect in order to get us into the illumination. From here, we can go into the supernova again, in which we'll then use the effect of the jet synchron, getting us the junk servant. And then from here, we can special summon out the junk servant, use the effect of stardust synchron to get us access to a level 8 synchro, as we're going to go into the Axel. This will allow us to bring back Jet Synchron this time around, as we're going to activate the illumination, and then from here we're going to bring out the trail, and this will give us access into a Synchro 5, which will make the Axel. And then from here we're going to activate the trail, which will give us a token, and then we can use the effect of the Axel, sending the carrier, which is a level 2, and from here you can either increase or decrease its level by 2, which would give you access to either a level 4 or a level 8 synchro, but in this replay I'm just going to turn it into a level 3, and then we'll go on to our opponent's turn, and you'll see we're going to use the effect of the Axel as soon as your opponent does anything you want to respond to. We'll then be able to get our Stardust Dragon, which will give us protection from destruction, and immediately synchro summon into the Herald of the Arclight to give us an Omni negation with a pseudo Floodgate, the protection effect of Stardust, and the effect of the Supernova. Now for this third replay, we'll be taking up things a notch a bit, as we're going to have the Junk Converter with any tuner and the Doppel Warrior, and from here we're going to activate the Junk Converter, use its effect in order to get us the Junk Synchron, normal summon the Synchron, then get back the Converter, as we're going to special summon out the Doppel Warrior from our hand, then go into our Speeder, and our Speeder will get us 3 bodies on board, as we're going to use the Converter Chainlink 2 in order to chain block it, getting us back our Junk Synchron, and then we'll bring out the Stardust Synchron, Jet Synchron, Flare Synchron, in order to give us the standard setup that we would usually get from Speeder. So from here we'll get the search off of Stardust Synchron, as it was special summoned to get us the illumination, and then from here we'll go into our Charge Warrior to give us a draw, and also a level 6 synchro. So from here we'll get the Chainlink 2 Stardust and the Chainlink 1 Jet Synchron, and this will get us into our Junk Servant, and then from here we'll go into the Baron to protect our plays from here, special summon out the Servant, and then from here we can activate the Stardust Synchron, tributing off the Junk Synchron, get our level 8 access so that we can go into the Axel, use the Axel's effect, which will allow us to get back the Jet Synchron here, and now we're going to go into our Herald of the Arclight, use the effect of Doppel Warrior, which will give us 2 tokens, and I would like to point out that there's 2 variations of this combo, and I'll be showing the second variation on the very next one, but we're going to go into our Shaman, and this is basically just an extender, which can special summon up to 4 level 2 non-tuner monsters from your hand and or graveyard when it's synchro summoned. So we'll do just that, as we're only going to get 1, bringing back our Converter, and now we can use the token, the Converter, and the Shaman for the Axel, as we're going to activate the Illumination. From here we can get the Trail, use the effect of Illumination, which will turn the Trail to level 3, and this will get you access into a level 8, as we make the Draco Berserker of the Tenyi to round out our end board. Now you'll see that we're going to start with the same exact cards, and as I said, there's just a lot that you can do. Synchros being synchros, there's just variations that you can make with all the climbing that you do level-wise and all the bodies that you can bring out. But we're going to get access into our Junk Speeder with the Doppel Warrior on board, much like our last combo. We'll then get the rest of the bodies on board that we need off of Speeder and Converter, chain block the Speeder again through the Converter effect, as we're going to get the effect of the Stardust Synchron, get the Illumination, go into our Charge Warrior, use the effect of the Jet Synchron as Chainlink 1, Charge Warrior as Chainlink 2, get our Servant along with a draw, the Stardust Synchron that we draw we won't be using, as we're going to go into our Baron, special summon out our Junk Servant, and then from here we're going to bring out the Stardust Synchron by tributing the Junk Synchron. Then we'll be able to get our level 8 access into the Axel, use the Axel's effect, which will bring back the Jet Synchron, and then from here we're going to go into Herald of the Arclight, activate the Illumination, and then from here we can bring out the Trail, go into our Axel, as we're going to get the effect of the Trail, which will give us a token, and then we're going to activate the Illumination to make that token level 2, and then from here, I just want to show this, you can make any level 7 end board synchro that you want, but I'm going to make the Yazi on purpose here in order to pop it with Baron to show that this is just another line of play that you can take and probably do something different with. This is just meant to be an idea, but you're going to see that we're going to get a token on board, which will basically just give us level 7 access again, which is why I said you don't have to bring out the Yazi at all. But I still wanted to show it because it is something that can potentially have something more there. So now this time around, I'll be doing the tuning the ready set along with the Doppel warrior. And we're going to activate the tuning. This will get us into the junk synchron. We'll then be able to activate the ready set after we mill one from tuning. Get ourselves the carrier, which we can normal summon, then have the additional normal summon to get ourselves into the junk. Go into our speeder as we'll use its effect in order to bring out all these synchrons. But from here we're going to then use the effect of the Stardust as we're going to get ourselves the illumination. Go into our charge warrior. Use the Jet as Chainlink 1, the Charge Warrior as Chainlink 2, and then we're going to get the Servant plus a draw that we won't use. Then we'll go into our Baron to protect our plays from here on out, as we're going to special summon out the Junk Servant, then use the effect of the Charge or the Stardust Synchron as we're going to bring itself back by tributing the Junk, and then we can special summon out the Doppel Warrior from hand. And what this will allow us to do is make the Axel in the extra monster zone in order to get back a tuner as we get the Jet Synchron, activate the Stardust Illumination, which will then be able to bring out the trail from our deck, as we'll now go into the Yazi. And again, I do this to show that you don't have to, but this is just another avenue that you can take, as I am going to bring out the 2 tokens with the Doppel Warrior, as I'm going to synchro away into the Herald, and then we'll be able to use the Baron to pop the Yazi, much like our last combo. This will just give us level 7 access depending on what you want to do. I was looking through different stuff, but I wasn't quite sure with what I wanted to do. So again, just take this more as an idea rather than a line of play that you have to take that I still wanted to show. Now for the final combo before I get into the full hands, and I'm going to do 3 full hands this time around because there's just different things I want to show. In this particular combo, you'll see that we don't have access to Junk Speeder, so what are we going to do? And we're going to start by special summoning out the Fenrir, using its effect to get another copy of itself. And from here we're going to activate the tuning, get ourselves the Stardust Synchron, milling 1, doesn't matter what you mill, if it's good it's better, but we'll go into the Stardust Axel now. We'll activate the effect of the Axel as Chainlink 1, Jet as Chainlink 2. From here we can get ourselves the Converter, as we'll then get the special summon back of the Jet Synchron, tribute off the Jet Synchron for the Stardust, and then we'll get the Stardust effect, which will get us the Illumination. From there we can activate the Illumination, then bring out the Trail, as this will get us into our opponent's turn with access to a level 8 Synchro and protection with Stardust. The minute your opponent does anything that you want to respond to, you can bring out your Stardust and then Synchro summon into your Draco Berserker, or whatever else you want to make. So now we can get onto the full hands, and this is a hand that, again, I don't think is actually going to run through Junk Speeder. The other 2 will, but I just wanted to show that the deck can still create boards without it. And I'm going to start by special summoning out the Fenrir, getting another copy of itself, normal summoning the Carrier. We can then get the extra summon for the Jet, bring out the Destrudo by paying half our life points, targeting the Carrier to make it level 5. And then from here we're going to go into our Tatsunoko. And the cool thing about this card is that we can go into our Axel Synchron with it by synchroing it away with a monster in our hand, in this case Doppel Warrior, and because Doppel Warrior was still used as synchro material, we'll be able to get the 2 tokens off it, and then from here we'll go into the Stardust Charge Warrior with the level 5 Destrudo and one of the tokens, as this will get us a draw, and then from here we can activate the effect of the Axel Synchron, send the Stardust Synchron, and the interesting thing that I want to point out here is that technically if you wanted to increase, you could make it level 9 and then synchro away into Baron with the token, but we're going to make it level 1 here in order to get access into the Shaman, as we're going to bring it out in the extra monster zone so that we can get our bodies in the main monster zone. And then we're going to get the Stardust Synchron's effect, which we can tribute off the Carrier. This will then get us a search for the Stardust Illumination. We'll then be able to go into our Axel as we're going to use the effect of Axel, bringing back the Shaman, go into our Herald, use the Illumination as we're going to bring out the Trail, and then from here we'll be able to go into our Draco Berserker of the Tenny to round out our end board while still having an extra card in hand with the Book of Eclipse, which is something very nice, seeing as this was basically just a 3-card combo with Fenrir being added to your end board, along with the fact that we have the Book of Eclipse, but you'll see that we can also make the Excel level 9 if you want to, in order to go into the Baron with the Jet Synchron in graveyard if you don't want to keep the Book of Eclipse for the Omni Negation, and then make our Baron. Now for this next hand, and I'll be using a lot of the cards that I've kind of just been using, as you do play a lot of 3-ofs. In fact, this entire hand is made out of 3-ofs, so we're going to start it by activating the tuning. This will be able to get us into the Stardust Synchron as we're going to mill one. We'll then activate the Ready Set as we're going to get the Carrier. We'll then activate the Junk Converter, sending the Synchron or the Jet Synchron, getting ourselves the Junk as we'll normal summon the Carrier, normal summon the Junk additionally as we'll get back the Converter, and then from here we can go into our Speeder, use the Speeder's effect, which will be able to get us the 4 tuners on board, and we also have the Converter this time around as we're going to get the effect of the Stardust Synchron to get us the Illumination. From here we can go into the Supernova, use the effect of the Jet Synchron to get us the Servant, bring out the Servant as we're going to bring out the Stardust Synchron, and we can go into our Stardust Axel in order to use its effect and also make our Illumination live for the extra body as we're going to get ourselves the Trail, and then from here we can go into our Axel as we're going to get the token off the Trail, and then from here we're going to bring out the Destrudo, paying half our life points, making it level 6, and then we'll be able to go into a Zeta. You could technically make a level 8 with the Destrudo, but you want to the Converter because the Axel is still a tuner. So because we're not done yet, we're going to use the effect of the Illumination, making the Axel level 9 as we're going to use the level 5 Axel to dump the Jet Synchron, and then from here we can make it level 6 as we're going to go into our Draco Berserker of the Tenny with the Converter, and then we can get the Converter's effect to bring back the Jet Synchron, and this will give us our Baron access with the Axel that is level 9 to round out this end board. And then for the final hand, I'm finally going to show one that plays around Nibiru, which the rest of them haven't. So if you wanted an anti-nib hand, here it is. So I'm going to start here by activating the Ready Set, as we'll be able to get the Fleur, and from here we're going to activate the Junk, which will get us into the Junk Synchron. Here we'll be able to normal summon the Synchron Carrier, use its effect to get the additional normal summon, bring back the Fleur off the Junk Synchron, which is important because this is how you will play around the Nibiru as we're going to bring out the Doppel Warrior in our hand, go into our Herald for the 5th summon, then we have the level 5 access for the Speeder as we're going to bring out the rest of the tuners. So here we're not going to be able to get a Fleur as we searched it out, but it doesn't really matter as we're going to have a full end board anyways, with the Stardust Search for the Illumination, going into our Axel, as we can then use the effect of Axel, bringing back the Fleur, and now we can activate the Illumination to get our Trail, and then from here we'll go into the Axel using the Jet and the Trail, get back a token, as from here we'll be able to go into the Charge Warrior, get ourselves a draw, and then from here we'll synchro away into Baron with the Charge Warrior and the Stardust Synchron, and then from here we'll set one. But more importantly, we got the Fleur Synchron here because with how many names we have in graveyard in regards to synchro monsters, and what I'm doing for the opponent right now doesn't really matter. I just want to get multiple cards on board, as we're going to activate the Axel in order to get us into the Stardust, grow summon into the Satellite Warrior, and we have a total of 4 or 5 synchros in the graveyard. We see 3 there with the Axel, 5 with the Speeder, and this is 5 pops protected by Nibiru with 2 Omni Negations in your end board. This is definitely kind of crazy, as we'll also be able to get the Trail Chainlink one after we wipe out our opponent's board, as the Trail will then special summon itself back. So finally, with all the combos out of the way, I'm going to get to the deck profile, and if there's one thing that you'll notice is, as I said, there's a lot of 3-ofs. There's also 44 cards because of the extra one-ofs in deck that we do play and not wanting to see them. This also does allow for more going second cards. As you do see the Saravis though, we do play this to protect our junk speeder. It could technically still be a going second card. Big addition to the consistency though comes with Ready Set. As you saw with the addition of the card to the deck, you have the 1.5 card combos with Junk Converter, as any of your tuners will allow you to get into Junk, which is access to Speeder. Having a total of 12 Ready Set Dual Tuning, Carrier, and Junk Synchron with the 3 Converter added along with the other tuner monsters that you play just speaks to the increase of this deck's consistency. You'll see some options that I put here, like Trishula is something else that you can do. Noticeably, you'll see that the Crystal Wing is missing, and in none of those combos did I make Crystal Wing, and it's because the level 8 access seems like it's going to Accel Synchro. It just makes your boards much stronger, lets you play with less cards in hand, which makes it easier to put in going second cards. So even if you don't have that many lines of play that are quickly protected from Nibiru, you just have the overall added consistency to the deck that makes it better overall. Mega is obviously another option for level 8 synchros if you want to run that over the Draco Berserker. It does still rip a card out of your opponent's hand. It's just another option that you have. You also saw that we do summon a fair amount of tokens with the Doppel Trail, and I thought that the 100 Apple Dragon was interesting to put as a consideration. Same thing with Satellite Synchron, which do special summon back from your graveyard a bit, and having the extra Synchron name that you can bring out instead of the Fleur that's also level 2 for Speeder. Interesting to note, but definitely requires more testing. I don't have the Overtake in the main deck because I wanted more going second cards and more reactive cards. And I also want to go over the Thrust, the Talent, and the Crossout, Nibiru, Dimensional Barrier, blah blah blah. The reason I want to go over them is because if Dragoon is really back in the format, then having the Talents to kind of just steal it after you've baited out its negate is kind of nice. The Crossout with the ability to play more going second cards in general is also helpful because it means that even if your combos lose to Nib more often, if you can play Crossout the side deck and protect yourself from Nib that way along with the barrier, this kills 2 birds with 1 stone while not hurting the consistency of the deck. Finally, of course, there's Anti-Spell Fragrance. Don't play much spells at all and you can help protect yourself from Dark Ruler no more and things like that. To talk some more about the main deck, I think Ready Set makes the Carrier infinitely better. The ability to get an extra normal summon and pair with the tuning you saw is just full combo. Decided to remain with the Destrudos, the deck along with the Mare. Not only can it potentially be a going first combo option if you do find a line with the Mare stuff, it also does help going second. When you can have going second cards, quote-unquote engine. I don't really want to say engine because you're just playing 3 Destrudo, but the point is that just the extra chance of being able to play through more going second. Really, I thought the Fenrir was a cute option. I've seen in one of the previous combos it being level 7 and being able to go into the cell with the Fenrir and the Jet Synchron is kind of nice, especially when you consider Fenrir gets you another copy of itself, which can also be used to pitch for the Jet Synchron after you've revived it from the cell and used it for whatever you need to. It's just something I wanted to point out. All of that out of the way, I'll finally get onto the card by card. We have 3 Stardust Synchron, 3 Junk Synchron, 3 Synchron Carrier, 3 Jet Synchron, 3 Ready Set, 3 Tuning, 3 Junk Converter, 3 Destrudo, 3 Book of Eclipse, 3 Fenrir, 3 Saravis, 3 Evenly, the 1 Called By, the 1 Rhoda, the 1 Servant, the 1 Illumination, the 1 Trail, the Doppel, the Mare, and the Fleur Synchron to round out the main deck. Onto the extra deck, we have the Supernova, the Satellite, the Baron, the Draco Berserker, the Accel, the Stardust, the Yazi, the Zeta, the Charge Warrior, Junk Speeder, the Accel Synchron, TG Hyper Librarian, which maybe can be something else, Herald of the Arclight, the Tatsunoko, and the Shaman to round out the deck profile. Anyways, if you made it this far into the video, I thank you so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave them down below. It's Bones, signing out.